Parents, what's your secret weapon for getting your kids to tell the truth? I did not always have one. When my son was 9, he came home from a friend's house with a brand new video game in his backpack, still sealed. I knew I had not bought it. I knew his friend's parents were strict. I also knew the look on his face. Too neutral, too controlled. Where'd that come from? I asked. Jason gave it to me. Just gave it to you? Yeah, the answers were quick. Practiced. Every instinct in me wanted to catch him, to corner him with logic, to point out how unlikely that sounded. Instead, I did what I used to do when I was younger. I pushed. Are you sure that's what happened? Yes. Did you ask his parents? They said it was fine. Within minutes, we were locked in a power struggle. I could feel the lie, but the harder I pressed, the more solid it became. He doubled down. His voice sharpened. Mine did too. By the end of the night, we were both angry, and the truth was still missing. The next morning, Jason's mom called. The game had been taken from his older brother's shelf, no permission. My son had stolen it. When I confronted him with proof, he broke instantly. Tears, apologies, shame. And that was the moment I realized something uncomfortable. He had not lied because he was evil. He lied because he was afraid of me. Not afraid of being hit, not afraid of punishment, afraid of disappointing me. That stung, so I changed tactics. A few months later, another test came. This time it was a cracked tablet screen. He handed it to me already damaged. No story, no explanation. Old me would have launched straight into questioning. Instead, I took a breath and said, before we talk about what happened, I need you to know something. I care more about honesty than I do about the tablet. He stared at me, trying to measure whether that was a trap. I did not rush to fill the silence. After a long pause, he said, I dropped it, and I tried to hide it at first, but then I felt sick about it. That sentence mattered more than the broken screen. Here's what I learned over time. Kids tell the truth when 3 things are true. First, they believe you already suspect it. Second, they believe the lie will make things worse. Third, they believe your reaction will be steady. The first one is subtle. I stopped interrogating and started stating observations. This story doesn't fully make sense to me. That is different from you're lying. It keeps the door open. The second required consistency. If he lied about something small, the consequence was heavier than if he had admitted it up front. Not dramatic, just clear. You're not grounded for breaking it. You're grounded for trying to cover it up. Over time, that pattern sank in. The third was the hardest. Children read your face before they hear your words. If your anger spikes fast, they will protect themselves first and tell the truth later. So I practiced slowing down. When something seemed off, I would sit at the kitchen table and say, start from the beginning. Then I would let the silence stretch. Silence is uncomfortable, especially for kids. They expect interruption, defense, debate. When none comes, guilt has space to rise. There was one night that proved the method worked. He was 13 by then. Teen years, harder conversations. He came home later than he was supposed to. Said his phone had died. Said they had lost track of time. I nodded and listened. Then I said calmly, that doesn't feel complete. No accusation, just a statement. He looked away. I waited. 30 seconds, maybe more. Finally, he exhaled. We tried vaping, he admitted, just once. My heart pounded, but I kept my voice even. Thank you for telling me. We talked about health, about peer pressure, about choices. He lost privileges for the week. But the bigger thing happened afterward. A few months later, he called me from a friend's house before midnight and said, there's drinking here. I don't feel good about it. Can you pick me up? That phone call was the real victory. The secret weapon is not intimidation. It is building a history where telling the truth feels survivable. Kids lie when they believe honesty will cost them connection. If they know the connection stays, even when consequences come, they choose honesty more often than you think. It takes time and patience and swallowing your first reaction more times than you would like. But the payoff is this. One day, they tell you the truth before you even ask. And that is when you know it worked.